notified that this is being recorded. So if you're not interested in being recorded, then your only option is to leave the meetup. Recordings will go live on the YouTube channel, but time is a bit scarce at the moment, so maybe it'll take a little longer than expected. All right, on to today's speaker. Tom, you have 20 years of experience in the business.
Thank you for remembering me how old I am. Thank you for that.
No, it's not what I said. You don't look like you have that much experience, but or maybe that came out wrong. No. So and 6 times MVP award.
Yes.
Consecutively. So not like me having a gap in the middle. 6 years in a row. Can you maybe share just shortly what drove you to actually become an MVP?
Maybe it happened by accident.
Okay.
So I did not plan for it. So, but a lot of the things I know, I have learned from the community. And for this reason, I felt some debt and wanted to pay back. And I started speaking, answering questions at the Power BI community. And then someone suddenly asked me, do you care what do you think if I suggest you become a data or an MVP? I was shocked in a way, but so this is what made me become is paying back to the community.
Okay.
Paying or showing my passion or sharing my passion for the things I work with.
We all appreciate your input to the community, and well deserved with the title. And hopefully you will keep that up because it's much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you've spoken at various user groups.
Yes.
Power BI Summit.
Yeah.
And you continue to do that and join meetups and user groups all around. Are you involved in organizing any meetups or conferences?
I am one of the organizers for this new online conference called Data Bash.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening on the 25th in November. It's online, and it's also I do this with a couple of like-minded friends because we love learning and we love sharing, and this is the second time that database will happen. Yes.
Yep. Okay. Great. Minced Data, your blog, or it's not really transparent who's behind that, but I guess it's
yes. Someone already reminded me I should add the about page much more clearly. I'm so sorry. Yes, mincedata.info is my website. It's my blog. It's me. Yes, I will make a note.
And it's .info?
It's mincedata.info.
Yes, I just posted it in the chat.
Thank you very much.
To see. Yeah. So Martin has a sound issue. I recommend you to leave the meeting and then join again. But otherwise, we will continue with Tom's presentation. So let me hand over to you, Tom.
Thank you very much.
And I will be off camera and on the chat.
Okay. So then, here we go. So can someone please confirm that there's a presentation or a slide, something that looks like a slide? Jens, can you please become unmute again and say yes? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
We see the presentation. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, thank you. So this is about some concepts, some newer concepts, data mesh, data product, and data WTF. So because there's more. And then I also show how some of these concepts can be implemented using Microsoft Fabric. I will provide a short introduction what this Microsoft Fabric is and how this relates to Power BI. But nevertheless, before that, little agenda, who I am, new concepts or only new names, how Microsoft can help or can it not, I am in this business for 25 plus years. I'm a little bit focused on Microsoft Data Platform technology. I love writing DAX. This also led me to write a book with Philip Seamark together about DAX. I'm currently working for Munich Re, an insurance company based in Munich, as a solution architect, doing this for the last 7 years, solely focusing on data platform, or more, let's say, focusing on Power BI and its relatives, meaning Azure SQL, analysis services, tabular, on-premises. So what's close to Power BI? That's me. And I am a data platform MVP because I love sharing, because I think if we learn together, then we can answer more complex questions. So this is basically the reason or the motivation behind sharing my knowledge talking in sessions. So new concepts, new technologies. Before we start with the new concepts or new technologies, I have a little recap. So maybe all of you or some of you are using a data warehouse as a data source for your Power BI reports. So I call this concept data warehouse old because it's older than Power BI. Old does not necessarily mean bad. So just it's older. But one important aspect of data warehousing is it's a central repository that integrates data coming from a bunch of disparate sources like SharePoint lists, other line of business applications from SQL Server, from Oracle, things like that. Everything is integrated in a central data repository. So this is something that we know, this concept called data warehouse. I assume we know. I also do not say that everyone or that Power BI only works if there is a data warehouse. No, it's not, because I can create tremendous insight sourcing data from various Excel files and SharePoint lists. So a data warehouse is not necessary. Wrong direction. Once again, wrong direction. So this is also, I have to still not get accustomed to the scrolling direction of my mouse wheel using a MacBook. So this is how a data warehouse might look like. But for today, it's not important if the data warehouse is cloud-based or on-premises. And it's also not important how we model data marts using data vault schema or the paradigm of the star schema. This is not important. It's only about having various data sources, loading this data into a warehouse, creating data marts. Maybe our Power BI data set can be considered a data mart, and then we use this for analysis reporting. So this is how a data warehouse is used. What matters today is that this concept of a data warehouse says it's centralized data. This is important for today. And then after the data warehouse, we realized that we need something different, because not everything that we want to analyze or store looks like a table. And for this reason, we start using a data lake. So basically, this data lake is about providing or storing data in its natural raw format in a data lake. And sometimes we also consider using the data lake to store transformed data, or transforming data that is stored inside the data lake to fulfill certain tasks like reporting, visualizations. And also sometimes the data lake can include structured data from relational databases. So does this mean that we have this well-defined database and then we export this data in its raw format to a data lake? Maybe, maybe not. Here it's natural raw format. This is what the data lake basically makes it. And another aspect, it's large. And it's most of the time the data lake is cheap. And if data is landed into a data lake, then we have a single point of storage where data is stored. It's a data lake. So, but you remember maybe advanced structured data from relational databases. So this is also something how does a data lake work together with a data warehouse? Do I have to copy the data from my data warehouse on premises into a cloud-based data lake? Why should I do this? These are things that have to be considered. And some of you maybe have a solution for this because you're already using a data lake and things like that and created an cloud-based data warehouse using Synapse or other cloud-based relational data warehouse systems. So when I am going to find out if a new concept or something that is new, does it matter? Do I have to take care about this new concept? I always start with a recap of things that I use already or we are using already, and discuss this with colleagues. What is the new thing about this new concept, or it is necessary that we take care about this new concept. What is the idea of this new concept? Once again, I'm sorry, wrong direction. Hopefully this is the last time that it will happen. So now we are not talking any longer about the lakehouse, the data warehouse and the data lake. Now we are talking about the lakehouse. So, and there's this concept of a lakehouse that combines the benefits of a data warehouse and the data lake. The benefits of the data lake are I can store immense amounts of data in a data lake and combine this with the performance, reliability, whatever this means, with a data warehouse for analytical questions. What I consider the most important thing, or that changed a lot, is the idea of separating the compute and the storage. So this is when you're working with a SQL server today, data is stored in a SQL server. It's the MDF, it's the data file, and the LDF is for the log file that keeps track of the transaction, things like that. I cannot use the MDF file or the LDF file. The storage is tight and maybe can be also considered proprietary. It's tied to the SQL server. Now, if I'm separating the storage from the compute, this is the promise that I can store, that I can reuse data that is stored in this storage, can be used by not only one application, but by many applications. So this is what I consider is the greatest idea of the lakehouse, my personal point of view. And now this is a little bit into Fabric. What Fabric is, I will talk about this a little later. Fabric is let's say, the separation of compute and storage. And the storage that is now called OneLake in Fabric is based on Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. And on top of this, I have this compute. And here, this analysis services on the right is basically the thing that we know from Power BI, the Power BI dataset, the Vertipack engine is able to directly read data stored in the OneLake ADLS Gen 2. So this is the lakehouse. And what is also something that takes maybe a whole day is talking about what is a data table. Data table is some kind of storage format where data is stored in the format of a data table. And with Fabric, Power BI is able to read directly the data inside the data table without the necessity of loading data into the Power BI data set and without the disadvantages of direct query. So this is the idea of separating the compute from the storage, and this is what maybe can be called the lakehouse. And this is the first glimpse into Fabric. So, but now I want to talk about a new concept. So basically new doesn't mean it's emerged yesterday. No, a data mesh concept is also not that new, but it's about in contradiction to the data warehouse, data mesh is about federation of data management, meaning not, so quite the opposite of a centralized data store, meaning different teams have the authority of local data management. So what does it mean? If you have two departments, maybe each department is developing its own data warehouse. Does it make sense? Most probably not. This is maybe the extreme of data mesh, but it's about federated data management. And it's not about centralizing. This is also because the data mesh concept takes into account that domain experts are not always in this central department that is responsible for creating the central data warehouse. So this is something that makes a data mesh. It's about federation, it's authority of localized data management, but it's also comes with a cultural and organizational shift, because it's one thing, on the one hand, I want to do the things on my own, but sometimes it's not that good if I am responsible for that, what I'm doing. So, but this also means the cultural and organizational shift. And also data mesh is promising that data can be accessed easily by the business, and that certain data assets are analyzed, categorized, and then call or create something that is called a data domain. So the data domain, personally, I think is the weakest concept, and it's very full of ambiguity and things like that, but it's a concept. So, and subject matter experts use patterns and domains to create data products. I am convinced that it's possible to create a data product without having categorized my data assets into domains. So I think it's possible, or let's say we think it's possible, that it's to create data products, and data products are then made available for reuse for business needs. So now data product, and this is also something, the data product is something that I consider we should not, or a data product, the definition of a data product is not related to data mesh, data lakehouse, or things like that. It's always a good idea to think about the data product, and it's created because they process data or analyze data. And I can then call this outcome a data product. And this can be a data mart in a data warehouse, and this can be also something that is close to us Power BI users I can consider a specific report or a Power BI app can also be a data product. So data products are designed to provide insights, support, and it's about analytical data thinking. So if you are talking about a data product in the context of data mesh means there are different teams, maybe in different regions, maybe just the next office door, a different country. There's more than one data team. This makes a data mesh. And because the team takes ownership of this data, it can become a little bit difficult if you talk about quality usage of the data products and interfaces, because maybe two data products owned by two different teams are merged into something larger or things like that. And are both teams talking about the same quality? Do they take care or provide the same, missing a word, sorry. Do they take care about data quality with the same effort? Or is one data product more structured, more reliable than the other? So this can become very difficult if I'm looking for data products coming from different teams and I want to merge two data products into a new one. So for this reason, data products require data contracts because of exactly this. There has to be, let's say, at least how is data quality defined. And this is also something that is touching a lot of other aspects like data governance and things like that. So if I want to introduce data products, then I also have to consider about data contracts because we are not the same. Sometimes I'm a little bit free or do not care that much, and sometimes I care a lot. So there has to be, let's say, a balance or a minimal viable product for data quality. So this is something that you might consider if you are creating your next Power BI data set with a bunch of reports and dashboards as well. Because what is the product name, product description? What is the data structure? What is data quality requirements? How can this data be used? What are data contracts? Who is the owner? Who is responsible? What is about data governance? Who can access this data? Security? What about the data product lifecycle? How is this data product related to other Power BI datasets? Does it relate? How do I update and maintain my data product, my Power BI dataset? A data contract is, from my point of view, is not related to the concept of data contract. It's related basically to each and every Power BI dataset that has a larger audience. Larger means more than just me. When I share a Power BI dataset or a report providing access to this report using a Power BI app, the users maybe rely on data quality, data product dependencies. And this is something that I consider necessary for each and every Power BI project when this Power BI app is shared with more than two, starting with two people. It does not have to be 400 pages, but certain aspects should be at least more than a sentence. So now data mesh versus the data warehouse. the biggest difference from my point of view is the data warehouse is centralized and data management in a data mesh is federated. This is, from my point of view, is the greatest difference. And this is nothing that comes with technology, because this is a concept and is agnostic to technology. So, and what do we have to do, or should we do things like that? Is data mesh the new thing? Do we have to abandon our data warehouse? As always, it depends. If we are using Excel and we are fine with using Excel, then Fabric is not for us. If you are considering implementing a data warehouse because you have so many Power BI data sets that are sourcing data from the same line of business application, maybe that you now think, hey, does it make sense to load the data into a warehouse so that the source system does not have to be queried each and every time when a data set is refreshed? Maybe if you're starting using a data warehouse or in the process, maybe then you can consider creating a lakehouse instead of a warehouse, because it's more open. If you need a relational engine because you're accustomed to this engine, maybe then you can use Synapse or can consider Synapse. Fabric is the new data platform currently in public preview from Microsoft. If you're considering doing this, then maybe Fabric is the way to go, because you do not need to create a data warehouse when you're using Fabric, because Power BI is an essential part of Fabric, and you can use Power BI as you did until today, and you can use it the same way tomorrow. You do not have to create a lakehouse. So data mesh, is this a concept to implement? As always, it depends. How large is your data organization? Because federated teams means we need skilled federated teams, because I need this data engineer not only once, but twice, because there are different teams. Is this possible? Can you do that? And how data literate is your data organization? So we sometimes, if I'm talking with colleagues or friends about data literacy, it's not enough, or data literacy does not mean saying pie charts are evil. So it's much, much more than that if I'm talking about data literacy. And what this means, good enough data quality discussions, is because there are different teams, maybe there are different aspects about the data quality aspect. And one team might be saying, okay, this is good enough. The other team is saying, no, we have to take care more. And then maybe because it's federated, maybe you will receive emails from teams that say, my data refresh for this data product did not work as expected. And this is not necessarily a data refresh as we know it in Power BI. This can be the execution of a complex data pipeline that is collecting data from many, many different data sources. And this is also something that can happen because now we have multiple teams. But if you consider a data product, maybe data mesh can be a game changer, because you need multiple data products. Then these data products will become, or will be, one data product can be released faster than if I have to combine two into a single data product, or the one called the enterprise data warehouse. But also, if there is one cool guy who knows everything about data flows and Power Query, and then maybe a different department is looking for these people and is offering this person a better office, maybe also more money, then you have to take care about this as well. So this is about concepts. Are there some questions in the chat or not?
No, there are no questions. There has been some discussions going on.
Okay.
But no concrete questions so far.
Okay, so then I will delve into Fabric. So this is an official Microsoft Fabric presentation slide. I just added it to my presentation. Microsoft Fabric is providing everything. It's a single platform. This business intelligence part here is Power BI, but also data science, real-time data warehousing, data lakes, Spark engines. So it's a unified platform Fabric. This is what Microsoft is building, is creating, and we are able to toy with it because it's in public preview right now. So once again, this is the data mesh, a new architectural concept, and its data or Fabric is, maybe you already noticed that sometimes there's this Fabric icon when you open a Power BI dashboard or go to app.powerbi.com. There's this Fabric icon appearing. Its Fabric happens in Power BI, a little bit odd. And because also Power BI is also an essential part, namely the business intelligence part of Fabric is Power BI. But everything is happening inside the Power BI workspace as we know it. Maybe you remember the time when there were no data flows, but now there are data flows. With Fabric, it will be possible to create a Power BI, to create new artifacts or items inside a Power BI workspace, not just a report, a dashboard, a data set, or a data flow. There are more items. Once again, one direction. And these compute engines, these new items can be created if it's a premium feature or are premium features, and different workspaces are able or are assigned to a Fabric capacity or a new type of capacity, but also all the Fabric things are available with the basal or with the P capacities as we know it. So, and this capacity is located in an Azure region. And it's also possible that you have two Fabric capacities located in different Azure regions. And it's also now, how can we make it reuse the data product? Because if I'm considering this capacity is responsible for a given data product, how can I reuse the data product from the left side on the right side? Then it's possible to create some so-called shortcuts so that I do not have to copy the data from one place or from one workspace to another one. And this is due to the concept of a single data store that, of course, respects different regions. But this is the concept of one lake, the unified storage across your Fabric Power BI tenant. So this is how it works to reuse a data product.
A quick question. Is there going to be a marketplace kind of section where you can expose data products for consumers to go shopping?
So basically, you consider this the same way as it's possible to. So the short answer is yes, because it's something you can create a Power BI template app.
True. Okay. Yep.
So, but if you are considering reusing or selling your amazing Fabric notebooks. I'm not sure if this will be possible leveraging a Fabric marketplace, but you can use Power BI template apps based on this, on your backbone.
Yep. Cool. Thank you.
So if you are in analytics, started or using Power BI, maybe you can consider using Fabric as well. If your data journey is if you are on your data journey and you have left Excel and Microsoft Access, then maybe you have to consider how can Fabric help and how Fabric fits into your existing data landscape, data management, data analytics landscape. So this is something you have to consider. And be aware, it's currently in preview. So if you need something new today, then Fabric is not the way to go. And now I would really stop my presentation because I'm done with my presentation. There's just this thank you slide. And I was preparing for creating a shortcut. But I do not know if creating a shortcut is revealing or exciting as I am excited about creating a shortcut to data from one workspace in the other workspace. So, but maybe we can use the remaining minutes for discussion if there's discussion or things like that. Otherwise, I would create a shortcut.
All right. I'll just catch up on questions. There's something about CI/CD and also which ETL ELT tool works well. I kind of answered the latter one, as we have seen notebooks vastly outperform data factory jobs and data flows with especially large files. But I don't know what your take is on those aspects.
Okay. So so everything is inside a workspace. I am still used to say it's a Power BI workspace because I'm used to say it's a Power BI workspace, even if it contains something like an Azure Data Factory pipeline, a notebook, or data flows Gen 2.
Okay, yep.
You have, and this is maybe not only good, but suddenly you have multiple tools to transform and load your data. This can be good, but this can also be a little bit overwhelming. And yes, I think it's a good idea to get acquainted with these different tools. And if you load and transform a large file that is residing inside your Azure Blob Store or things like that, then maybe, no, not maybe, then you are absolutely right. It's faster to use notebooks or a notebook to transform the data and also store the transformed data. If you are not that accustomed to notebooks and if you are a Power BI user, maybe then you will use data flows Gen 2 because this is something we know. But if data loading becomes a little bit more because this depends on that and things like that, maybe then you will also consider creating a pipeline, but maybe use a pipeline to execute different notebooks, combine the execution of notebooks or the result with data flows, and maybe you also use some data wrangling capabilities of an Azure Data Factory activity. So possibilities the number of possibilities has grown, but maybe this is not always just a plus.
No, true. So in the interest of time, I think we will go for the most suiting for the topic of today. You've mentioned domains. How does it fit? How does they fit into the picture? So can you share some information on how domains are maybe configured, or how they are thought to be a part of the data story?
So where am I? Second, please. So now we are looking at this is my Power BI tenant, and so I can create a domain, and I also can. Why can I create a domain? Because I'm a Power BI Fabric admin in my Power BI service, but I can also define domain administrators. This is something.
Can you make that full screen?
Oh, sorry. Is this better or not?
Just slightly. Do you have the possibility to zoom maybe?
Yes, but now I have a Windows. I do not know how to zoom.
Okay.
I'm sorry. This is my MacBook. I'm sorry for that. So I created a domain, test domain here, and I can have domain admins, meaning I can define a group of people who are also able to create domains. And I also can define domain. So I'm pretty sure that I'm not 100% just if I say it's at the current state, it's only a tagging, and what is tagged is the workspace. So, and a single workspace can be assigned. A workspace can only be assigned to a single domain. So domains do not change security concepts or do not provide, and domain admin does not necessarily has access or does not have automatically access to any data item inside this workspace. It's just a grouping of workspaces at the current moment. And for this reason, I consider a domain. This is why I said domain I do not have to define domains if I want to think about data products. Currently, I would say it's not or the current implementation is not that. But because we are in public preview, maybe there's a change in how domain works and how domain will affect workspaces. Because if I'm an organization and I am responsible for whatever reason for 2 data products, and one data product belongs to domain A and the other data product belongs to domain B, I have to have 2 workspaces. And the number of workspaces might become a little bit cluttered if I'm fully following a domain concept. This can be done easily because of shortcuts, but nevertheless, I think some things are missing. But maybe this can also be related to my current understanding of the concept of domains.
No, I think it's introduced a bit too early, maybe into the mix. Yes. So currently, it's just a kind of grouping to manage that even better. Yeah. I guess we will see additional features to that concept as we go along.
Yes, I think so. And maybe I think it can also help a lot in cataloging. If I use a data catalog, this will also be something that helps to find my data.
All right, I think we're a little over time, and I think we got most. Yeah, no worries. I think we got most of the questions.
There's a poll. Yes, I am very excited.
Yes, there are several polls, but yeah. Thank you so much, Tom, for joining this.
My pleasure.
session, enlightening us on the way into Microsoft Fabric and what are the more major concepts that we need to take into consideration as we kind of embark on this journey into more and more data, because that's evidently a consequence of going this way, that more and more data will be handled by the guys or girls that are using Power BI today, because it's kind of a integration into a larger product suite, and obviously new skills need to be acquired and so on.
Yes.
If anyone has questions, please reach out through the Meetup user group or on my private email, jv@t-sequel.dk, if you have further questions. Otherwise, see you next month, and thank you again, Tom.
You're welcome.
Very much a pleasure seeing you again.
It was a pleasure talking about this concept, and there is something mentioned by Christian. Data mesh is inspired from domain-driven design, and I think it helps if you want to better understand domains, data mesh, that you will read about or start reading about domain-driven design. So
Yep.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Jens. It was a pleasure without vanilla mousse this time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I thought about incorporating that dessert into the presentation, but yeah, not every time.
Thanks. Okay, thanks.
All right.
Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. Have a great day, everyone. And thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.